Thanks again for joining us as we talk about DHIS 2022 today. I'm Sean Howell. I'm a Senior Insights Director here at CLAS, and I'm joined by Kevin Huang, also an Insights Director. We're also joined today by Scott McKenzie, the CEO of RevSpring, and we're excited to hear from him about his perspective as a vendor attending DHIS and his experience attending in the past. DHIS is September 13th and 14th in Park City, Utah. We look forward to seeing you there. Scott, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to join us today. As we expressed to you, we'd like to hear about your experience with DHIS in the past. Would you mind starting by just telling us a little bit about your interaction with CLAS at DHIS and what that experience has been for you?
Yeah, so, I've been interacting with CLAS for, over 20 years in my career. My career is mostly has been almost always in healthcare IT. So I interacted with CLAS when it was in, Kent's basement. So I've seen the organization grow and prosper, and I think make a good impact on healthcare. And I like the mission. And in my opportunities as an executive and a CEO, I've had the opportunity to work with CLAS to help make my companies better. And I really think if you look at it as an opportunity to learn, an opportunity to get feedback from your customers, CLAS serves a very useful role in saying, okay, here's what we're hearing, here's what you think you are, and here's what your customers say you are. And I found that's always been good in terms of us understanding where we can improve. And so CLAS, I think, has helped us on the journey of improvement with our customers. Also, CLAS, from my perspective, is the pulse of the market. And so I always like to talk to the CLAS folks, what are you hearing? Because I will have a certain view of it because, I'm a vendor in the end, right? I'm going to look at it in a certain way, and maybe investors look at it in a certain way. So it's always good to hear a third party say, well, that's interesting, but here's what we're hearing. And it helps us not to make mistakes, maybe in terms of how we prioritize things. Maybe we're getting excited about something that really providers aren't that excited about. And so I found that the interaction with CLAS has been good. And so, we leverage CLAS specifically to understand the market, to improve our customer satisfaction. And I found that to be a very useful relationship. And CLAS has always been very good in terms of the feedback they provide us.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and curious, you mentioned being a vendor and being an executive and CEO, but as far as DHIS is concerned, is there anything at DHIS that stands out or does differently than any of the other symposiums or conferences or events that you get invited to or go to, and in terms of what you get out of it?
Yeah, I think one of the key things from it is not a sales conference. So there's some conferences, there's no booths, right? There's no booths. And so you're going to get into it what you put into it. So if you want to go to DHIS and sit in your hotel room the whole day, you can, right? But I don't think you're going to get the advantage of it. And so it's an opportunity to learn. It's an opportunity to collaborate. And you're collaborating with, people that may be your competitors, but I think there's co-opetition and we can learn from each other and we all have a goal. And so I think it's meant to bring people together that maybe have some conflicts of interest, and even in some cases I've seen it where, there's a payer and there's a provider. There's definitely, a little bit of friction, but it's good. So it's the idea is learning, the idea is collaboration, the idea is networking. And so, which I think is good. But there's other events that are sales events. This is not a sales event, which is, good, but people should know that going in. And
do you have anything top of mind from DHIS last year in terms of something specific that you got out of that learning or any particular industry insight?
What I like about the industry insights is that, the fact-based discussions. And, I think in the last one, they did surveys of what the providers are looking for. Just before the event, they did a survey. And And it strikes me, and I had this also recently when we talked a couple of weeks ago. Sometimes we think that what we're solving for artificial intelligence, and we're talking about artificial intelligence and bots, and we're talking about pretty complex things that we want to do. And then you'll get this survey, and the providers, they just want, I think their number one thing was better pre and post communications with the patient. And we think that's already done, right? And then I think there's recently this patient survey, right, where we're trying to do artificial intelligence and chatbots, and the patients are saying, I just want to know how to reschedule. And so sometimes I think it's good to be grounded by your constituents, because sometimes we're trying to sell the new thing, right? We're out there trying to reinvent things and make the world a better place. But to get there, you have to solve these core things. So sometimes what you have to do is say, wait a minute, I need to re-anchor on these basic things because my constituents are telling me we still haven't accomplished that. And so I think it's good to have data from your constituents, fact-based, because sometimes it re-anchors you. And I think with DHIS, we got different types of information there that was not consistent with what we were thinking was the next great thing, because it was telling us you need to also do the thing that we said 5 years ago and actually, be successful.
Scott, I love that you said that. That's one of the things we really try to do at DHIS is align those three different attendee types, the investors, the providers, the vendors. Like you said, sometimes your head is way ahead of what providers actually need, and maybe it's a problem you thought was already solved, but there's still some struggle there. And so aligning on that, building those connections, getting all of those different groups at the table. And as you know, we try to have executives from health systems, executives from vendors, and investors all come, those decision makers, those who can bring an empowered voice to that table and really make change. So that's great to hear that that's the experience that you've had as well. Is there anything else that you would want to share about DHIS as you think about providers, investors, and vendors that are considering attending this year?
Yeah, I think the key thing is it's a learning session. I consider myself I want to be a lifelong learner, right? And I want my organization to be a learning organization. So I think if you come to it, you should come to it and you should sit in on all the sessions. What I did like was in the last one, like the networking session, there was actually a time for networking. And then you should sit in on the session. So the idea there is do your networking, but don't be in the hallway networking when somebody's presenting, because these are speakers who put time into the presentation. And so it's disrespectful for them. So I'd say go there ready to learn, to sit down and listen to what people are saying. And sometimes you sit on a topic that's not your topic, but you're like, oh, okay, wow, that's interesting. Now I understand maybe how that's working, and maybe that affects me a certain way. So it's really an opportunity to learn. I think it's a collaboration session. So, for me at least, I've been in the industry a long time. It's a really big industry, but it's a really small circle. You run into the same people a lot of times. And so it's an opportunity to network with your competitors. It's okay. You're on a panel, people aren't evil. We're all trying to do good things for healthcare. We're all trying to accomplish our goals, take care of our families. And so it is a good opportunity to, in a friendly environment, network with those folks. And I do think you get into what you put into it. And so, my advice is attend the whole thing. I don't fly in for one session and then fly out. I think you can get nuggets from sessions that maybe not even are your topic. And so take advantage of that. And then also, like I say, it's a networking event, but you're going to have to search people out because there's not going to be a booth. There's not going to be like something like that. So you have to be open and, talk to people, and you'll meet some people that you'll find interesting. So I think it's good if you approach it with an open mind and try to learn.
When we think about DHIS and as a CEO and executive and CEO, was there anything top of mind you'd want to share about things that things that materially impacted the way you're running things, the way you're looking at things because of DHIS?
Yeah, we did focus more on the pre and post journey stuff and pre and post journey messaging, because that was actually, in my recollection, that was like one of the top 3 things providers were looking for. And so, take a step back and think about what that means and what they're trying to do. And sometimes it's simple things. And so we did make more investment in that. I think we took, so some of the things reinforced things that we're doing, and some of the things told us some of the things that we thought were not of interest to the market, or maybe were past tense were actually things people were looking for now. And so we made a more concerted effort around those things. And so we focused a lot on pre-service and post-service messaging and interacting with the patient, even if it's simple stuff. Now, and now what we're working on too, from some of the feedback that we've gotten from class is, scheduling, and we're supporting scheduling. We're not going to be a scheduling company, but we are supporting the interaction with the EHR so that patients, as part of the interaction that we do around payments or around appointment reminders, can have the opportunity to schedule and reschedule, and doing that, getting the information from the EHR and posting it back in, because the patient wants a simple experience. They don't want to have to go here to do this and here to do that. And so we're listening to that, and we're trying to do what I'd say are some simple things that I think make an impact based on what the feedback that we're getting from these sessions.
Are you planning on attending DHIS this year?
If you invite me.
Of course, we'd love to have you.
Have you seen some?
No, absolutely. Absolutely. No, I find it very, very interesting, very worthwhile. Class helps make healthcare better. And so I think, all of us are here. I like the fact that I'm in my job, I can make the world a little better. I can tell my kids I'm doing something good. And class is doing something good. Bringing together these parties, collaborating, just communicating is good. And it moves the ball forward. And so I appreciate you guys having events like this where you pull people together, you put some facts up, you create a little debate, and we all work towards a solution. So you guys are serving a good purpose.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. We feel that way, but it's fun to hear that from the outside too. We appreciate it.
Thanks again, Scott, for chatting with us today and sharing your insights about DHIS. If DHIS sounds like something it'd be interesting to attend, please reach out to us. You can find us at classresearch.com/events, or reach out to us directly at events@classresearch.com. As a reminder, DHIS is September 13th or 14th in Park City, Utah, and we look forward to seeing you here.